Good evening, Jeff. It's so wonderful to see you. I love your candles flickering in the background. Ooh, it's the spooky season.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
just great. That's great. Well, I'm not spooked up yet. I'm getting there, but it's been a very, very eventful couple of days.
Hmm.
And for anybody that's been following anything going on in the paranormal, they know right now that yesterday I took it upon myself to make a short video imploring, virtually begging Jason Hawes to be my knight in shining armor and lead the Light Brigade and save the farm, to go to that auction and to outbid everybody, and for us all as a community, a whole paranormal community, to come together and to contribute to the salvation of this magnificent piece of property. And he agreed. I mean, I'm still in shock. I'm wandering around in shock. He agreed, and this was not something that he wanted, and he's not at a place in his life where this is something that he yearns for, to go forward. But I do believe in my heart that Jason Hawes is a part of the destiny of the farm, and he was the first bona fide, serious investigator to investigate that farmhouse,
Hmm.
and got so much material that they couldn't fit it into the final cut of the show. I mean,
Hmm.
he's still got all the B-roll from all those years ago, 2007, when he did that episode of Ghost Hunters, season
Hmm.
2, episode 7. Yeah. No, season 2, episode 7. Yeah. So anyway, he's doing that, and he launched a GoFundMe today. So I encourage everybody to go to my Facebook page. Everything is on there. And I begged him. I did, Jeff. I mean, I threw all what pride I have, what ego I've got. I cast it to the wind like a witch casts a spell,
Hmm.
and said, please, oh, please, Jason, be the one to buy the house. And so he's going to try, and we are going to try, and we're all going to work together. And it gives me something to really look forward to,
Yeah.
and to live for, And Tuesday, I had a PET scan, and the results were not that encouraging. Apparently, there's a mass near my thyroid, and several others that are lit up in a way that they had not been. And they have found a mass of some kind of a shadow or something in my brain. And tomorrow I'm going to have an MRI at noon at the local hospital right here. I don't have to drive all the way to Carrollton to go do it. And uh, I would really like that to be, brain damage from earlier in my life when I was a professional football player for one whole season. One season. That was it. And then,
You never cease to surprise me. I didn't know this.
oh yeah, no,
Hmm.
I played for the New England Storm. We were the sister team to the New England Patriots, and they
Oh,
used to come to our games on Saturday nights, and we would go to their games on Sunday. And it was, yeah, I was a
hmm.
nose tackle. My greatest strength on the line was being able to infiltrate and strip the ball from the quarterback. I had a lot of sacks.
Wow.
Not sacks, sacks.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very interesting. I was the eldest player in the whole country. There
Wow.
were, I think, I don't know how many teams. The Women's Professional Football League. It only lasted about 6 years. Nobody wanted to watch women play football. I don't get it, but anyway, it was interesting, and I really enjoyed playing it. And it was, physically very demanding, but it proved to me that I could do it. And I was in my 40s.
Hmm.
And most of the women that I was playing football with were young enough to be my daughters.
Hmm.
So it was fun. It was interesting, but yeah. So I'm hoping that, I had a head injury then and it left a mark. I'm hoping that, when I bashed my brains in when I was 7, that maybe it left a mark. I don't want to think that this cancer is migrating. But whatever comes, me, whatever comes, we'll face it head on, and no pun intended, and go forward, hopefully, into each new day, because I've got a lot left to do in this life, and
you do.
this is really becoming quite a nuisance, and I would like it to go away now. So I will, together with everyone, repeat my famous mantra: get the fuck out of my big fat fluffy temple now. Go back and live with your father, the devil. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I agree with that prayer.
It's a good one. It
Yes.
is. And the other one is, in the name of Jesus Christ, I expel you from my classroom. Amen.
Yeah.
So, so Jeff,
Mhm.
we only had a brief time to talk during the week, but I believe I shared with you that there was an outpouring of expression from the men who attended UFO Contact in Houghton Lake, Michigan this past weekend.
Mhm.
It was the most incredible, most remarkable, most amazing event that I have gone to in a very, very long time. It was just filled to swelling, to bursting with people's emotions. There was joy. There was absolute joy. I mean, we were, like jumping in place, like we were on The Price is Right. I mean, it was just so fabulous to have my family together with me. And there were a few people there that I had never met before. But I knew a lot of people that were there, but there were some that I had never met before. But what happened was, and one of the things that let me just say before I go on, one of the things that I most appreciate about you is that you do not perceive your emotions to be frailty, a sign of frailty or weakness, that you use your emotional strength as the strength that it is. As a man, as a full-fledged, in your face, strong as an ox man, you allow yourself to be vulnerable. You have, your moments when you are significantly in touch with who you are and what your emotions are and what you are enduring, what you are going through, what season you are in. And you are always in touch with that. And what I'm finding is happening, among other things, is that these men have had pent up emotions for so long and have not been able to express themselves, or not felt comfortable to express themselves emotionally, and becomes like a pressure cooker where, the heat just gets turned up and up and up, but nobody remembered to twist the valve to let the steam off. And what happened was there was something in either what I said, and I honestly don't remember what I said during my lecture or anything. I don't remember. It's like it comes in and then goes out, and then that's it. But something triggered an emotional outpouring unlike anything that I have ever seen. And my big beautiful UFO Contact sweatshirt, the hoodie, I love that thing. I almost wore it tonight, but it's hot as hell, and I would have had a hot flash. So it was soaked. Jeffrey, it was soaked. Both sides. Doing third eye opening and helping clear, burdensome energy, and just me telling them, give me whatever it is that you carry that no longer serves you. Give it to me. It will not stay with me. It will be gone instantly and just pass through me. Think of me as a vacuum cleaner. And everything blows out the back end. It's just that fast.
Yeah.
And when they had permission to express themselves fully and completely, what happened is they didn't care that there were 30 or 40 people standing directly around them watching this happen. That ego part, or that feeling of pride, or that feeling of being, I mean, and these guys were he-men, okay?
Yeah.
Men's men, like big corn-fed huskers,
Mm.
and 6'6" and big, huge, beautiful, gorgeous, lovely, loving men who needed to be acknowledged, who needed some attention and some affection, and needed to be able to talk to somebody who was safe, somebody that they considered to be trustworthy. And I am honored to be that one. I am honored to be that one. You won't hear me saying, names tonight. This one said this, or that one said that. What transpired between us as individuals stays with us. What I am astounded by, gobsmacked by, was the effusive explosion of raw male energy in the form of tears, in the form of laughter, in the form of reverence and respect, in the form of awe and wonder, and being so engaged, so completely engaged. And I guess if I had to boil it all down like a peanut in Georgia, I guess the question would be, what the hell is going on? This feels like a shift to me. This feels like a shift in the energy.
Yeah.
This feels like not a disturbance in the force, but almost a stabilizing of something that has been unstable for quite some time. These men need an outlet. They need somebody that they can talk to. They need somebody who, better yet, who will listen to them, who will say, I get it.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah. No, and that, you know what, that hits close to home to me as well, because well, I am a man, and I know what it's like to be forcibly fit into the slot that is maleness, right?
Yeah.
That comes with expectations that one not emote often or heavily, right? And that you always be in control. And look, I think there is a degree of honor and respectability to that position. I think it's biological in some ways, and you really can't fight biology. And some of that just comes from ancient males feeling that need to be the protective force. And so, that being the case, there was this sort of evolutionary need to tamp down emotions. But then you see where that leads. That leads to aggression, that leads to outbursts, that leads to violence, that leads to all sorts of other things. So it's like there's this survival mechanism, but survival mechanisms only help you survive. They certainly don't help you thrive. And I get it. I am more emotional. I do wear my heart. I don't necessarily know that I wear it on my sleeve, but I at least keep it in my pocket up here where it's accessible, whereas I would say 90% of men I know buried their heart in the backyard a long time ago. And maybe when their father dies or something, they exhume it, and you kind of see a bursting forth of emotionality. But otherwise, you really don't. We're taught. I don't even necessarily know that we're taught. I was certainly never taught to bury it, but it's just the example that is set for you. Like for me, my dad he was not an emotional guy. He just simply wasn't. He wasn't a stony-faced, stiff upper-lipped, emotionless guy. There's a difference. But he also, we weren't like huggers. We weren't like big I love you kind of people. You know what I mean? Like that. Me and my mom, yeah, but me and my dad, no, there is a bit of a, you hold it all in, and that comes from, I think, a noble place in most men, not all, But I think most men, it does come from a noble place of wanting to not burden people, you know? And I know for me, I know that is one of my big faults that I've had to work on over the years, is that I can become an emotional vault, even though, again, I am more emotional than I think. I am pretty open with my emotions, but I can sometimes, I guess it's because maybe I am more emotional than some. I have a lot more emotion to share, and sometimes the really deep ones I will keep bottled up because I don't want to burden people with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm naturally inclined towards service, and I want to help, and I want to be of assistance, and I want to do for other people. You know, that's kind of my natural
Yeah.
inclination. I want to be like, oh no, you sit down, I got this. Oh no, you go do that, I'll take care of that. That's my natural inclination. And so when it comes to my emotions, I certainly don't want to burden people with those. And so like this year in particular, I had a heavy year this year. I've had a heavy couple of years, but for whatever reason this year, a lot of things really kind of all came together, and it was very heavy. And I made a mistake of holding it in too much, you know, and it led to, it didn't lead to anything like, I don't mean anything super negative, but just in my own heart, a sort of just heaviness that I carried around like a sack of concrete in my rib cage, you know, for about half the year. And it was, I just didn't share it like I should have, you know, and when I
Yeah.
did, it was transformational. And like you said, there's so much. It's kind of like in The Prophet from Khalil Gibran, the poem on love, where he's like, you know, if you choose, I can't remember the exact wording now, but he's like, if you choose basically to only seek after love's pleasures, you'll laugh, but not all your laughter. You'll weep, but not all of your tears. So essentially, if you,
Yeah.
you know, to the degree that you're willing to give one emotion vent in your life, to that degree all others are given permission to be vented, and so you really become a stunted individual. You really do. You're not fully who you are or who you could be. And I'll say this too. I think in our culture, the good men, and there are a lot. I know
Oh,
that men can get a bad rep because there are a lot of bad ones of us, right? Unfortunately, and good men don't stick up for themselves. You know, good men don't stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not one of them." Good men don't tend to do that. Good men just tend to continue on with what they were doing,
yeah.
um, without ever being like, "Hey, I'm not like that guy," because good men just want their actions to speak for themselves. And so, but I think a lot of times that means good men kind of go unseen. You know, the
Yeah.
good, or at least they feel unseen. You know, and
They feel more than unseen. They feel invisible.
yeah.
And oh, by the way, we forgot to announce the classes in
Oh,
session. I figure everybody, pretty
yeah.
much figured that out by
Yeah.
now, since we're, I don't know, a good 22 minutes in.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, we'll remember next time or
Mm-hmm.
not. This was one of those shows we needed to plunge right into.
Yeah.
No, they feel invisible. That
Yep.
I can't even describe to you the sensation of looking into the eyes of an older gentleman with penetrating blue eyes and see the light when I said to him, "Tell me what you saw."
Mm.
And he just lit up like a Christmas tree, just that bright and beautiful, and told me. And I just sat there and I listened and I stared into his face
Mm.
and just soaked in his experience
Mm.
as though I'd had it myself.
Mm.
And we talked for, a long time, considering these events. Everything's quick paced. There's a lot of people mulling around, but we talked about it and when he walked away, I'm telling you, Jeff, it was like he floated away
Mm.
from me. He looked light on his feet, like, tripping the light fantastic. His whole body had changed. Everything about his demeanor, His aura was different. Everything about him was different. He was, discovering the incredible lightness of being, because he had released a burden that he had carried for decades.
Yeah.
That is transformational. That is a point of epiphany. That is something that we need to encourage in every conceivable way that we can, to open these men up, because you know what? It doesn't matter how many good women stand up for the right and proper causes. If you really want to expedite the change that we need to see in the world, we need good, strong, dependable, loving, generous, kind men to stand right with us, right beside us.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of truly good men. They just have to come out of their shell, and
Yeah.
they must not suppress the feelings. And I felt a lot of desperation. You know how you feel when you're doing a meditation and you can feel that there's something's coming through for someone
Yep.
during that meditation?
Yep.
That's how it was for me. I
Mhm.
could feel the burdens that they were carrying. I could feel the heartbreak.
Yeah.
I could feel the hidden secret self buried in, at a soul level, just buried, that they were doing everything that they could to keep it down, keep it back, keep it at bay, hold it at bay.
Yep.
And when that door opened, when that dam broke, it was inspiring. It was awe-inspiring. I
Mhm.
was struck, absolutely struck
Mhm.
by what they shared
Mm.
and how easily they shared it after it being built up inside of them,
Yeah.
suffering in silence for so, so long. It was truly, uh, it was something that I know that I was supposed to experience, and I know it's something that I need to try to remember, whatever it was that I was saying, whatever it was that I was doing,
Mm.
that caused so many men to come up to me after my lecture. So many to come up to me when it just, would have. I don't know, Jeff. I've never experienced anything like it before. And it usually is the women, and there were no shortage of women. I had women wrapped around me the whole weekend long. It was wonderful. My girlfriends, my love bugs. I mean,
Mhm.
Deb and all the ladies
Yeah.
I had, but it was the men that struck me
Yeah.
like a bolt of lightning
Yeah.
when I felt and saw a change, a transformational evolution occurring within them, live in real time.
Yeah.
And so, what I wanted, during the week after I put up the post about what tonight's show would be about, or what tonight's class would be about, I had 4 or 5 of my male friends write to me and say, could, Jeff do a healing, peaceful meditation that will help men to release their emotions and um, to soothe them,
Mm.
so that they are not so fearful about not only how they will be perceived, but fearful about letting themselves be that vulnerable.
Mm.
So I know I'm asking you on, it's not short notice, it's no notice. If you could conduct a meditation uh, now,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Ah.
or, when you get around to it, we've
Yeah.
got the first whole hour, so
No. Yeah.
it's all yours, baby doll.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'll just say a few words and then we'll go into it. But
Okay.
no. It's Thoreau who said that the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, right? And it's true. And as you said, there's so many men out there who don't just feel unseen; they feel invisible. And to feel unseen is, well, it's to be invisible. And to feel invisible, one begins eventually to behave invisibly. And then there's this largely male trait. It's not only male, but it tends to be more of a male trait, at least in my experience, is that you become one who just functions in such a way that you function always in the background, doing, but never being seen or recognized necessarily for what you do. And you kind of become used to that, right? And then you just become used to not being seen. And when you become used to not being seen, you eventually become, you sink into like emotional nothingness yourself. And there is an old Alan Watts-ism about what is it, does the eye create light or does light create the eye? And the truth is, it is a give and take. Light actually does create the eye. Light calls the light sensitive cells in a prehistoric being into clumps at the top of the head, so that those light sensitive cells then eventually evolve and become eyes. But then the eye that the light creates also creates the concept of light by perceiving it, right? So the two things work hand in hand, and masculine and feminine energy create one another. As we behold and we perceive one another, we're also creating one another, because to be unseen is to essentially be uncreated and to not be, but to be seen and to be observed. That's why when in the biblical kind of creation, God, it's the naming of the thing that essentially gives it its identity. The animals are created and they're brought before humans to be named. And when they're named, that's when they're like almost actually created. It's the naming and the seeing of the thing. It's the observing of the thing that gives it its identity. And I'll say this, and then we'll go into the meditation. I remember it was the year before COVID. So 2019, it was probably around this year, 2019. And I was riding in a very small airplane, like 2 seats on each side, very small little airplane, flying out to Springfield, Missouri to speak. And I was feeling very alone, just in my personal life and in my soul and in my head, literally on the airplane by myself. I was just feeling very alone. And I looked out the window and someone, maybe not 30,000 feet below, I don't know what elevation we were flying at, but somebody had in one of the little patchwork of fields that I could see beneath me, had plowed a message in their field that was only visible from the air. No one on the ground would have seen it. And I don't even remember what it said, but I just remember feeling so alone and isolated in that moment. But then I looked down from that height and I saw a message that only I could perceive. And for whatever reason, it just made me feel seen, that someone was considering someone up there looking down. And just because of my emotional state and how alone I felt when I saw that, I just like audibly gasped on the plane because I felt seen. I was like, I felt like somebody saw me, and I was like, it just took my breath away to like feel seen in that moment. And that is the power of being perceived and being seen, even in a way like that, where the person isn't actually looking at me and calling out of me anything that they perceive. It was just the notion that someone knew I existed in that moment that just drew this gasp out of me. And it reminds me even of the story. So like in the biblical story of creation, which I just referenced, God brings the animals to Adam. Adam names them. And when he names them, they go from being these almost like amorphous blobs of like potential to being what they are. And then Eve is created, not from man's rib, but like as his equal, like a portion of who he is removed. It's like half of him is taken out of him. And so now one being becomes two beings. And every other, when he's naming the animals, it's like this almost mechanical thing. He's just like naming them. But when he sees Eve, he says, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, because now he had someone who saw him and who he could see. And when he was actually seen and beheld, and he could see and behold, there was this gasp, this poetry that was drawn out of him. And in that moment on the airplane, that's what I felt like was drawn out of me when I just felt beheld and seen by someone 30,000 feet below who just thought enough to put a message on the ground that somebody in the air could see. It just made me feel seen, and it drew this gasp out of me, even as out of Adam came this gasp of theological poetry, bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Like there's so much power in just They're existing someone and something that sees you.
Yes.
And calls it, that just sees you in your isolation, sees you in your pain, sees you in your loneliness, sees you in that emotional cell you've locked yourself up in for 40, 50, 30, 20 years of just never talking and never saying what's bothering you because you don't want to burden anyone. It's powerful when someone looks you in the eyes and sees it. And so let's go into a little meditation right now. Is that we good to do that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're just going to flow. I didn't pre-rehearse anything here. We're just going to flow with the spirit and see what happens. So I want you just to plant your feet firmly on the ground in front of you. This is how I always begin this. And I want you just to feel yourself rooted and grounded. Plant your feet on the ground and just feel yourself on a firm foundation. And what is that foundation? That foundation is reality. It's the universe. It's God, if you're okay with using that word. And what is God? God is love. So what your feet are planted in right now is reality. It's God. It's love. And it also means that it's safety. You are rooted and you are grounded right now in something safe, in something that you can trust, and something that you can be vulnerable in the presence of without fear of judgment, without shame, without embarrassment. So just plant your feet into that reality right now. Feel yourself rooted, feel yourself grounded in non-judgment. Feel yourself rooted and feel yourself grounded in the peace that comes from knowing that every thought you have, that every intention, that every desire, everything, it's already known anyways. And it's not judged. It won't be met with anything but kindness and love, because that is what God, source, ultimate reality is. So put your feet in that reality and let roots come out from your feet and go deep into that soil and draw life from it. So we sit right now in this reality that we are loved and not judged, that we are beheld exactly as we are, and we are deemed beloved exactly as we are. And so we sit in this reality. We sit in this peace right now. And we breathe in the oxygen and the life of this reality. I breathe in divine acceptance. I breathe in divine acceptance. The divine God, source, loves me, accepts me exactly as I am, does not judge me for the things that I've locked up in my emotional vault and not revealed to anyone or told anyone about. It sees them and it loves me all the same. In fact, it loves me all the more, because those things are what make me me. They're the things that make me uniquely me. And those are the things that make me uniquely lovable as me. And for everyone listening, those are the things that make you uniquely lovable as you. The secrets, the idiosyncrasies, the things you've never told a soul about, those things that you feel deeply ashamed of, even in some instances. I'm not saying all of these things are great things, but even so, they're the things that are unique to you and that make you you. Therefore, they are the things that make you uniquely beloved as you. So just sit in this moment, in this like river of peace. And I want you just to feel all judgment wash away. The voice of judgment in your own head that's telling you this, that, and the other. Just don't even judge it. Don't even judge it as being wrong. It's just what it is. In this moment, we just accept ourselves as divinely accepted. That's all there is to it. I am who I am, and who I am is loved. That's it. Jesus the Christ, before he performed a single miracle, was baptized in the Jordan River by John the Baptist. And when he was baptized, it said the heavens were rent open above him, and a voice came from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And it was only after that voice came to him and he heard it and believed it and accepted what it meant that he went on to do and be the Jesus we know. But before doing a single miracle, before raising the dead, before any of it, he had to hear the voice of his Father say to him, "You are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. You're my boy, and I'm proud of you," is what he had to hear and what he had to accept before he did anything else. And so, to everyone within the sound of my voice, men, women, this isn't just for men tonight, but we are emphasizing that. But to everyone within the sound of my voice, to everyone listening to this, whether you're listening live, whether you're listening tomorrow, whether you're listening 20 years from now on a repeat somewhere, hear the voice of the Heavenly Father, however you perceive that reality. Hear it saying over you tonight, "You are my beloved Son. You are my beloved daughter, and I am well pleased with you. You are my beloved child, and I am well pleased with you." Hear it again. Put your feet firmly on the floor and root yourself in this truth. You, not somebody else, not me, not Andrea, not somebody else listening in another state somewhere, but you, the one whose eardrums are vibrating right now, you specifically, you are my beloved child, the divine says to you. And in you I am well pleased. There is nothing you can do to make yourself more lovable, and there is nothing you can do to make yourself less lovable. You have been chosen, and you simply are beloved exactly as you are. You are the beloved. That means you exist for one purpose: to be loved. It's that simple. So receive that right now. Feel that right now. Let it melt off every ounce of guilt and every ounce of shame. Yeah, sir, I hear you. Contemplating even an extramarital affair, and you feel deeply ashamed of it. Listen, not justifying the temptation. I'm not justifying the potential action. But I'm saying to you right now, before you do something that shipwrecks your life, hear the voice of your Father, your Heavenly Father. Hear the voice of the one who exhaled you into existence, saying to you, "You're my son, and I'm proud of you, and I love you. Even in this moment of weakness, I love you. And now let that love in and let it do what it does. The outcome will be what the outcome will be, but don't do anything until you let that love have its way in you."
Yes.
We breathe it in right now. We receive it right now. We accept it right now. The host of fathers out there who don't know how to properly love their sons. We're very good at loving our daughters because there's a different energy. But we often struggle in loving our sons because we don't love ourselves. And I do feel specifically, very specifically, someone listening to this, that's your situation. And I know that could be kind of a shotgun word that applies to a lot of people. I understand that, but I do feel like I'm speaking to someone very specific. I see like dark-haired son, and you feel very guilty about your inability to properly love. I want you to know that it's not over yet. Okay. You haven't it's not too much time has passed. It's not like you still have time, and this is going to be okay. Also, you need to know that your son does know that you love him. Your son does know that you love him deeply, But in the days to come, as you make a purposeful practice of quieting yourself, and I feel like in the early morning hours, and meditating on the love of your Heavenly Father, however you perceive that, you are going to have a breakthrough with your own son, where there is going to be like a literal breakthrough between the two of you, like a real emotional breakthrough, and that there's going to be sharing and things that there's going to be things that transpire between the two of you in terms of conversation and sharing that have needed to happen for a very long time. And so I just bless that, and I say, amen, let it be. And Andrea, if you have anything you feel to share as well, please don't hesitate to do so. But
Jeff,
yes,
don't you know, my big share is you. My big share from the moment that I knew we were going to be partners, we were going to do a podcast together, or whatever you call this. I knew right away that there was something magical between the two of us. That even though our perspectives are slightly different, and we come from, two, screamingly different backgrounds, that there was a blending and a melding and a mixture that is just unstoppable. And so what I share every week that we have the privilege of leading this class in Soul School, I share you, because I want everybody in the world to know who Jeff Turner is and to listen very carefully to what you say. Even in your meditations, you say things that feel to me as if they are from divine origin. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to go take my chemo. And so if you could just keep going with the show, Bill said that he'll pull me down.
Yeah.
And oh my God, and
Yeah.
Deb Bruce is here with us already. Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Can the two of you take over for a couple of minutes, and
Absolutely.
I'll get my meds, and
You
then
bet.
I'll let Bill know when I come back, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Take your meds.
Yes.
Know you are loved.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, you are amazing. So many things that you said during that meditation, just it was like sparking little thoughts in my brain and mostly in my heart. So thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah.
Even I have to tell you, you brought some tears a couple of times. But the part about fathers don't love their sons the way they love their daughters really hit for me. For some, I'm not a son. I was a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
But I know back in my day, even though I knew my father really loved me, and he would hug me and he would tell me I love you, but it was always very safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like a pat hug.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother, and there was only one boy in the family, didn't even get that.
Yeah.
And I really, it's heartbreaking. It is to think about that's the way it was. And I think partly because fathers have to mold those sons into big, strong men.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't share that same type of softness with them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. Like I've my daughter, well, I have two daughters and a son. My oldest daughter's 21, my son's 19, and then my youngest will be 16 in November. Jeez. I know, and how is that possible when you're only 25? I know. I'm just
Exactly.
But my daughter, I had my daughter, and it was the most nothing can prepare you for that moment. Really. I mean, I still have the video when I'll never forget when her eyes opened for the first time. Never forget it. no eyes, and then all of a sudden, boom, they open, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what they talk about. Like, and I felt my, like, you know, the Grinch where his heart grows, how many, whatever it says, 12 sizes or 10 sizes that day or whatever. Like, I felt my heart just be like, it like expanded in my chest. I'm like, okay, I didn't know it was possible to love like this. Like, and I love my wife. I love my parents. Like, I've loved up until that moment. But when I saw my daughter, like, my heart had to expand to like accommodate this rush of love. And then
Right.
I got used to it, you know, and it was like I lived with it. And then we got pregnant again. And I say we, my wife got pregnant. I'm not taking any.
It should be a we.
It's a shared thing, but she did the heavy lifting, quite literally.
Right.
But and then we knew we were having a son, and I knew from the moment. We knew from the moment. I remember we were up in Gaylord in a little boat, and she told me, and I knew, and we were like, okay, it's going to be a boy. I know it's going to be a boy, and we picked out the name, and then we did know it was going to be a boy. But I was terrified the entire pregnancy that I wouldn't be able to love him the way that I loved my daughter. And it wasn't just because it was a son and not a daughter, but it was also because that moment when I saw her, like I felt my heart expand, you know, and I was like, can that happen twice? Can that happen more than once? I don't know if it's possible. It was so miraculous. What if it doesn't happen again? You know, and I was terrified. And then we were going to have to be induced because my wife had some health issues. So we knew the next day she was going to be induced. And so I remember staying up all night, crying and praying, and of all things, watching Bambi 2, because that's what we had on for my daughter. We had that on for my daughter, and then everybody fell asleep. And then I stayed up and watched it. And Bambi 2 is all about the aftermath of Bambi 1, where, spoiler alert, Bambi's mom dies. And he's raised in the second one by his father. And it's all the father teaching him, you know, whatever. And the father's like this gruff whatever. And he's trying to learn how to be emotional and love his son. And I didn't know that's what it was about. We bought it at Walmart on the way home from a friend's house that night. And we popped it in. And it ended up being this like magical thing that like unlocked me, and I'm sitting there bawling, like on my knees, praying and being like, oh my God, I was basically all that to say, I was just terrified that I wouldn't be able to love my son as well as I love my daughter. I was genuinely terrified up until the night before he was born. But again, when I saw him, same thing, same phenomenon. I felt my heart expand. Oh, it's a miracle every time. It's happened, and it happened with my daughter as well, my second daughter. But still throughout your life, it happened. It's there. The love is there. The capacity is there. The love itself is there. But there is still this like lingering fear sometimes that even I get of just like, I don't know. It's like the energies are different. You know, there's masculine and feminine energies. That's a very real thing. It's real, and it's not just gendered, but it's real. You know, and so there's a different relationship you have, and then you know a mother and a son have a different relationship as well. And then I think we kind of accept that as being like, oh well, dads are just colder towards their sons, and mothers are a little colder towards their daughters, and that's just how the dynamic works. And it's like, but no, that's not it. That's really not how it should be. But I think the fear that men carry in their hearts of not being able to love their son properly, or that if they love them in a more demonstrative way, that it's somehow weak, or it's somehow, you know, effeminate, or as if that's the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? But these kind of things that we're raised hearing, that it's the fear itself that keeps us from it. But you already have it. And that's like with me, like I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to, but the moment I laid eyes on him, it happened. I felt it happen to me. So the love was there. The only thing that keeps that love here instead of out here, you know, pouring into him as it should be, would be my fear that I can't do it properly, you know. But the love is already there. And so, but we live in fear. We live in these little molds we get poured into. And, you know, like you said, well, even the least emotional of fathers, you know, at least, you know, you give your daughter a little hug, but then the son doesn't even get a pat on the head, you know, because there's just there's like this sense of weirdness about it. And it's like, but you know, some of the most powerful moments I've had, I'm not going to put any personal information out there because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but just a few moments though of vulnerability, you know, my son in particular, but just that moment where I knew I had a choice to make in this moment. You know, the kid's hurting. This is a moment you never get back. Doors like that only open now and again, you know? And if I just do a like, oh, well, it's going to be all right, kiddo, let's go watch a movie or something. I mean, that's still being there as a parent to a degree, but there was a door that was open in several of these moments. And it was like, you either step through this door or it closes, you know?
Mhm.
But I remember a few of those. And I'm not saying I've walked through everyone properly because I'm sure I've missed them. But I can remember a few of them where I just specifically just took him in my arms and was like, I love you, man. And you're perfect exactly as you are. There's nothing you can do to make me love you any more or any less. You're my son, and that's it. And if you never do anything more than just exist as my son, you've done all you'll ever need to do. And that's it. But it's like, I remember feeling myself in the presence of one of those sacred moments.
Right.
And then that sense of weirdness comes in where you're like, well, no, it's awkward, you know. But it was like, no, those doors only open every so often. And you walk through
Mhm.
them or you miss them. And you don't know
Right.
what a moment like that can do. So to the fathers listening, who don't be afraid to show your son love. They need it, man. They're dying for it. They're desperate for it. And you know what? Then that's a gift they're going to be able to pass on to their sons so
Mhm.
that they don't find themselves in the place that you find yourself in, of frustration, because you can pass on this vulnerability and this sense of tenderness. Tenderness isn't weakness. Tenderness
Right.
is strength. It's strength. The like the if a bridge is just rigid, it's gonna snap. The Mackinac Bridge sways. You know,
Yes,
it
it
was,
does.
and it's terrifying. It's
Yes.
terrifying, but it's also what keeps it as a solid structure. Solidity
Mhm.
has to have sway to it in order for it to actually be solid. If it's too solid, it'll break and crumble under the pressure. So true masculinity has to have that sway of tenderness in there and
Right.
emotionality, or it's not really masculinity. It's not. It's not real if it doesn't have that to it. So don't be afraid of
So
that,
true.
and instill it in your sons. Anyways, that was a long
Mhm.
rambling, but
I love it. And I think that everything you said is it's some great information because we're ascending, we're
yeah,
evolving, and, balance is coming.
yeah,
And men, all humans need to know that it's okay to love one another.
yeah, yep,
And it doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't
yep,
matter if you're, you know, daughter, son. It just doesn't
right,
matter. It's okay to
right,
love one another. And
yep,
I think, in listening to all of the words that you and Annie had, like I said, I was getting very emotional and
mm,
I'm still feeling it.
yeah,
But
mm,
it really makes all of us, I hope,
mm,
think and open up.
yeah,
Um, you know, it's something that honestly, I think the timing is perfect.
yeah,
It's supposed to be, we are, Annie said, I feel like this is a shift.
hmm,
And it's been coming. It really has for a few years now. But this past year, I have seen just like Andrea, I'm almost overwhelmed with the amount of masculine softness and love
yeah,
that is opening up right now.
yeah,
Um, but you brought up the fear. It's been a fear thing that men couldn't. And honestly, I think that we had to get to a point in society where women needed to see that men are afraid
yeah,
to fully love
hmm,
because they're supposed to be a man.
right, right,
So, it's been a lesson for both,
yeah.
really.
No,
Um,
that's a really good point, Deb, and I think that's the man who how would I say this? The man who just stiff upper lips everything and is always just a pillar and no emotion and is not afraid, and we think that's appealing. Well, maybe to an extent, but I, honestly, I think I think men appear oftentimes even more threatening than they actually are because they never show vulnerability. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and I think that's one of the reasons why. Well, one of the reasons why men get a bad rep is because there are a lot of bad men. You know, there genuinely are. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
there's more than there are the opposite. I think there's way more good men than there are bad men. But hey, there she is.
Hi. Yes, I agree. I came in at exactly the right moment.
Yeah,
There are way more good men than there are bad men.
yeah,
And, I feel like there is, I heard you just before I came back on, used the word tenderness.
hmm
And that is a word that I think is very important for us to focus on because I have noticed, even with, my father was always a tough guy. My father, the first time my father ever told me that he loved me and wrapped me in his arms and cried was the day he dropped me off to college and I was 17 years old.
Mm.
And I never had the feeling of, there were moments where I felt like, I was the apple of his eye. I was the center of his universe, when I was growing up. But he had a world of responsibility on his shoulders, 5 little girls to take care of, and worked very hard and was not one to express his emotions in a very positive, loving way. I mean, if you brought home a report card that had an A minus on it, he wanted to know why it wasn't an A. Where had I failed to get a straight A? That was the kind of father he was. And now he's the opposite. Now he is effusive in his praise, effusive in his affection, effusive in his admiration for me. And it's not just because I made a quote unquote success of myself at all. It's just that he got to know me. He got to know me and he found out that I was a rare, unique, and in some ways extraordinary individual. And he got to know me. But that required him investing some time and some effort. And the best thing that you do, Jeff, is you stay very involved in your children's lives. And that is I could hear while I was taking my meds, I could hear you talking with Deb about those golden moments where you have the opportunity to teach your son what love is and how it can be expressed and how healthy and wonderful it can be, and the value of the embrace and the warmth of human touch.
Yeah.
And all of these are important life lessons that will carry him far as he learns to become a man.
Yeah.
So I say bravo to you. Bravo to you.
Definitely not perfect. And I know I've missed as many as I've embraced, but I hope the ones that I've noticed and embraced stick out more than the ones that I've missed. I think that's all that any of us can hope for, because we're all imperfect and we're never gonna score 100 in this. But it's seeing those openings when they're there, whether it's with a son, a daughter, a spouse,
Yeah.
a stranger. I mean, even just today we were in a huge rush. I left work a little early. My wife, I'm down to 1 car at the moment, so because I've been waiting for a month for my transmission to get fixed, and I'm a little whatever, but it's okay. It'll get done. I'm trusting everything happens for a reason. But so we're driving each other back and forth, and my wife has a job that also has her on the road. So like she's picking me up. We're trying to get back, but we're in the parking lot. I'm grabbing a pizza real quick for the kids, so we can come home and she can get back to work, and then I can do what I got to do. But there's a guy whose battery's dead, and it's like, but the guy had such a, there are moments where I just be like, hey man, God bless you. I'm so sorry. I'm in a hurry, and hope somebody's going to help him. But like, he looked so like broken and sad, you know, and I'm like, I've been there as a man, and you just feel like everything's falling apart. You know, I've been there. You don't know what this guy's going through. You don't know what kind of week he had.
Right.
You don't know what else has happened to him, that this is just the cherry on top of, you know, and his eyes, like, I mean, he just looked like he'd been crying. I don't know. But it was just one of those moments, you know, and you take it, and the guy was so grateful. And it's just like, you just, life is about looking for those moments, whether it's a stranger, whether it's a spouse, whether it's your son. It's looking for those moments that are just being good is good for its own sake.
For its own sake. And each and every one of those moments is an opportunity to raise the vibration of the planet. Deb, how much have we talked about this?
Yep.
I even mentioned, I think during either one of the podcasts, or maybe even during my lecture, there's a new David. Oh my God, I can't remember. But I also wanted to say, before I even remind you of that, paraphrasing Ralph Waldo Emerson, that the greatest success that you can ever achieve in life is improving the life of a child. And so I wanted to remind you that was, you know, our great Emerson who said that. So every embrace counts.
Yep.
It does. But no, the point that I was going to make, which I'm, you know, quite sure will come right back to me any moment now. Oh God. Oh God, Deb, what was I saying? Were you even? Oh, Deb.
I'm lost, Annie. I am lost.
I know. I'm so friggin' tired. Oh my God.
We have had so many conversations about this very topic.
We're talking about
raising the vibration. That's it. Okay, so David, I believe his name is Dr. David Lester, and he's a statistician, and among other things. And he calculated that you know, yes, there is good and there is evil in the world. We all know that. It's a given. If you don't believe me, just turn the friggin' news on tonight, and you can get your full share. More of one than the other. But he said that according to his calculations, one person putting pure, spontaneous, positive energy out into the world, one person living in the light, one person who's exuding positivity and love language in all that they do and all that they are, is enough energy to counteract the negativity of 750,000 people. Now, even if he's way off, and it's only 10%, still, you know, do the math. 75,000. You know, well, I suck at math, so that number could be wrong. But still, what I am saying is, even if he is completely wrong, everything that we do, everything that we put out into the world, I consider what happened this past weekend at Houghton Lake to be a supremely healing event. The men that wept in my arms were healing. The men who's, you know, when I did their third eye, and all of a sudden you can feel their back heave, because you know that they're trying to stifle some kind of emotional expression. And I say in their ear, let it go. Give it to me. Just give it to me. It won't stay with me. Whatever is burdening you, whatever you are carrying that no longer serves you, and stop letting the whole world rest its weary head on your shoulders. All I have to do is say something like that, and before I know it, I'm saturated in years of suffering in silence, years and years, sometimes decades of suffering in stoic, hard ass, I'm strong, I'm a man, I don't need to express myself. You let that pressure cooker boil long enough without releasing that valve, and it's going to blow.
Mhm.
It's going to blow.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and that's why men have nervous breakdowns, and that's why the highest majority of the not the vast majority, but and I don't have my numbers right in front of me, I should, but men between the ages of 19 and 39 commit suicide at a higher rate than anybody else in our society.
It's crazy.
That's got to stop.
Yeah. And I would dare say it's even younger than that.
Yes. Yes.
Teen suicide,
They are lost.
especially with males,
And
is
we're the strong ones. Sorry, Jeff, but we are. We women are the strong ones. We are the ones that can take you by the hand and lead you into the forest, the beautiful forest, like what's behind Deb's head right now, and just take you for a walk in the woods and show you everything that is important about this thing called life in a very brief amount of time, and give you the opportunity to express yourself in a way that is fulsome, in a way that is steadfast and ardent, in a way that is honest and has no frills and is not hidden beneath ego and is not hidden beneath, that self story that you tell to absolve yourself of things that you perceive to be your own sins. And when you let all of that go, you are liberated. You are free at last.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of what happened at Houghton Lake this past weekend. And I called you, Deb. We talked about this, and I was like, Deb, you got to come on the show. This is a really, really important subject. And what was one of the first things I asked you? Did you get in touch with all of the men that attended UFO Contact and invite them to our spring? And Jeff, you are invited as well to our Mystical Awakening group that we are going to do again, the Mystical Awakening Weekend of Healing.
Okay. I will put it on my calendar. Yep.
Yeah. We don't have a date yet, Annie, because we're working on the where.
Right.
That is all up in the air, but we will. And yes, all men are definitely invited. When this first started, the very first one, we called it a women's
a women's retreat. Yes.
The next year, I said, this is crazy. Men need this just as badly, if not more, than women. So I every year announce this is not gender-based. This is something for all of us. And we have gotten, we've had a few years where we've had quite a few men, but overall, not nearly as many as women. And it's something that, RJ and I have talked a lot about since we got together, because when we met, I already had the store and did events and meditation groups and all of that. And he was kind of blown away because where are all of the men?
Yeah.
I would say probably 95% of all of our customers are women.
Yeah.
So we notice it a lot. But this last year, like I said earlier, there's a shift. There is a definite shift. I have done more healing. Now, I've done healing work for about 30 years or so. And I think I have done more healing on men in the past 2 years than I did all of the years before that.
I believe it.
And I love it.
Yeah. And there's so much more open to it now. And that's the thing that's most important, is that they are opening up on their own. It's like we've all been on the other side of a very dark curtain, and they've pulled it aside and they're peeking in and going, what's going on over there? That looks very interesting, and that looks very holistic, and that looks really healthy, and that looks very joyful. And I mean, for all the tears that were shed, the laughter the laughter and the love and the affection, and everybody was hanging all over each other all weekend long. There was hardly a moment that I didn't have somebody in my arms. It was absolutely.
I know. I was so jealous. Every time I wanted Annie, she had her flocks.
My flocks, we were all flocked up.
we were all flocked up. And Jeff wanted to make it. We did talk about it. He tried.
I know. I did. Like I said, but it was interesting. Yeah, two separate premonitions from two separate people that kind of told me it was for the best that I was unable to be there, and so I'm just going to trust it was for the best somehow, some way, as I do with all things. Even though I'm super jealous now, hearing of how amazing it was.
I know, but you know what? You will be at our next event, wherever it is, whenever it is.
Yeah,
we will make sure that you are there, and it will be absolutely perfect. And we'll do meditations, and you can lead one, and I will lead one, and we'll be doing galactic family stuff and, and all of that. Because yes, the best thing in the world is for me to be with my people. And Christine and I have already decided that if we have to leave America for some reason or another, that we're going to go to Windsor, Canada, which is just across from Detroit, so that we can be with all of our Michiganders and everybody can come and be with us while we take up residence for a few years in Canada. She's already got all of her paperwork done and everything. I'm telling you, the woman is serious as a freaking heart attack. So there's just something about us being together that it's so incredibly healing for me. And this is, a pivotal time for me. I'm not going to say that I'm in crisis. I'm not in crisis. I know I look tired. I get that because I'm tired. But I take my meds and I do my thing and I rake the yard and I walk the dogs and I do the dishes and I cook the meals and I run the vacuum and I live a normal life and just go on and go on and go on, not pretending that I don't have this, but looking forward to what I'm going to be doing with you again in a matter of just a few months, looking forward to being with Jeff. And looking forward, we should do a live thing right from wherever we are.
Yeah,
can do that.
I will just do a live thing. Bill will take care of everything because that's what Bill does.
And he's so good at it.
Yeah.
And we know he loves us and would love that.
Yeah. Yes, and he would, and he would love that. And we'll just do a live show right from our weekend together. We'll be together on Friday night. We'll just do it Friday night, Soul School. Live from
that'll be our first
Houghton Lake, Michigan.
Yeah. First
that would be. I'm excited about that. Yeah. Yes.
Well, what was really weird about Jeff coming is Christine Dragalski had offered to give me a massage, and I was already booked for a Reiki session with Jennifer Lindsay Palmer. So I was like, Chris, I would so love to have it done, but I'm going to be with Jen, and then I have to take my 10 o'clock meds, and then it'll knock me out. And so, I ended up doing it. It was Friday night with Jen. And as I'm laying there at the bottom, sprawled across the bottom of the bed so that she could get to me from head to toe, I had this vision of Jeff driving in from Port Huron to Houghton Lake the next morning and having a serious car accident. And I was like, no, where's this coming from? No, I don't want this. And I couldn't shake it. And the next morning I told him at the same time that he was telling me that he couldn't make it because for some reason they couldn't straighten out with his car, even though they had promised it to him days earlier. and everything was stopping him from being able to come to Houghton Lake. Diana needed her car, and he couldn't come. And so who else had the prophetic?
My wife, she had a dream the night before too. Yeah. And I told her, I was like, well, you know what, maybe it's for the best. And she was like, I actually was going to tell you, but I didn't want to, like, kind of the same thing you said. You're like, I'm just worrying, you know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where you're like, do I say this? Do I not? And she was like, no, I had a dream you got in a really terrible accident as well. It's like, well, thanks for telling me. No, I'm just kidding. But but after that, by the mouths of 2 or 3 witnesses or whatever, a thing is established. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to, like, guiltlessly go through my day then, because otherwise I would have kicked myself all day for not. I was like considering going and renting a car for the day just to come, because I so badly wanted to be there with you all. But after what you said, and then what Diana said as well, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to trust God. The universe knows what it's doing. And we're going to come together when we're meant to come together. And it's going to be all the better for the timing of it all. So,
yeah, it will. Absolutely. And, herein lies the lesson in Soul School tonight. Always listen to women. Especially always listen to old women. Right, Deb?
Yeah. 200% of my mistakes in life have come as a direct result of not doing that.
Yeah.
And every success has come from doing that. So, amen. Amen. Listen to your mom, listen to your wife, listen.
Yeah. I can say, Jeff, if you had been there, I really think that the universe did have this, God had this, galactics, whoever, because, I told Annie yesterday on the phone, I said, I really wanted to be with her through the weekend.
Yeah.
We get so little physical time together. But I knew that I had to stand back because so many people needed her. And, she's an angel, and she needs that to keep going as well. Mm-hmm. So I had to keep myself pulled back. And I know that had you shown up, she loves you so much. Mm-hmm. Other people might have been a little neglected that needed her. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
There, we have that.
Yeah. It all works out, and we just got to trust it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Yep.
It was a very intimate event, but it was a very well attended intimate event. So there were really an awful lot of people there. When we do the retreats, it's a smaller crowd.
It is.
It's more manageable. Everybody shows up in the breakfast nook in their jammies and their robes and their slippers. And it's just a very comfortable, very make yourself at home kind of thing. And no matter where we are, we'll do it the same way. It doesn't, no matter where we are. Houghton Lake is a really magical place. It really is. And we had some wonderful experiences. We got some fantastic photographs.
We did.
I didn't, but other people showed me what they got, and it was astounding. No, it is, stars don't hover below clouds. Stars do not hover below clouds. And one woman gave me a photograph of what looked like 8 bright stars in the sky, and every one of them was below the cloud line. And they were so beautiful. It's one of my favorite photos from the weekend. And then I got another one too that is so amazing that I'm adding it into as the last photograph going into my book. I'm re-releasing A Wonder to Behold in a matter of a few weeks. And I'm really excited about doing it. And I'm just doing the finishing touches now with my publisher. And I'm going to put it back out into the world in a big way, not selling it just privately like I have for several years, but putting it out into the world like on Amazon, where anybody can read it and throw caution to the wind, because there's a lot of stuff in there that, some people that I might not care to interact with would find very interesting. So that said, I have nothing to fear now. I mean, if there was anything for me to fear, I would fear the intruder that has infested my body. And I have no fear of that son of a bitch. And I don't have any fear of any son of a bitch that wants to dare question me about anything. And my attitude is quid pro quo. I'll tell you anything you want to know. But you know what? You better give me something back in return. It was like when I was lecturing, Deb, about, or maybe it was during one of the panels that I talked about meeting the rocket scientist from NASA on the airplane coming back from Phoenix.
That was quite the story.
I know. Oh my God. His name is Tom. He's got bright blue eyes. He's just beautiful. A beautiful human being. I can't really, Andrea, I can't tell you. And I'm like, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. If I'm going to ask a provocative question, I want the answer to be, a veiled attempt at telling me what you want to desperately and you just can't. That was great. Okay, so I'm rambling now because I'm tired. Okay, you two talk for a couple minutes. Let me see how much time we have left. Oh, we've still got a half an hour. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, so I mean, it sounds to me. So, what was there a focus at the conference this year specifically on the aspect of like with men and stuff like that, or was that kind of just a spontaneous?
Nope.
Happened. Yeah.
No, I can tell you,
spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
My focus is always for the people, whatever is needed. And I knew that this year healing was going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
So even though, people come there as experiencers and they want to share information, they want to get information, they want to connect with people who are like-minded and believe them. They also have other needs. And this year, like I said, it was healing.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of meditation on that.
Yeah.
But was it geared toward any gender or anything specific other than Annie, because I just love her so much. It wasn't really geared toward anything other than
it just goes to show then that it's just something that's in the air that needed to manifest itself.
Right.
If there wasn't, and I do feel there has been so much toxicity in the atmosphere over the last, well, my God, since 2016 at least. It's been palpable. But this last year, oh man, so much is just, it's just, do you ever see Ghostbusters 2? Where there's the river of slime, the negativity just running under the city. That's just kind of what it has felt like to me. Like there's just this manifestation, this like
an undercurrent.
Yes.
You can feel the vibration of the undercurrent.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's
like it is fear-based.
We've all seen too much. I mean, within the last month and a half, all of America has seen and heard too much. Seen things we were never meant to see. I mean, and we alluded to this a couple weeks ago, but there's just one image now that I'll never be able to get out of my head that I saw, that I think collectively most of America saw. Most of us by accident, scrolling through social media. I never wanted that image to be in my head. No matter where one falls on the political spectrum, I don't give a rat's behind. There was an image that our minds weren't ever intended to see, that we were then able to flick past and scrolled onto cat videos like that quickly. And it was like, we've all seen and felt and heard and experienced and read and taken in just too much, that I think so many people are at a breaking point. Events like this that are centered around healing are so integral right now. They're so, this has to be the focus. I mean, in so many ways. And I know it's not a gender thing. I know it isn't, but I do know I know
But
so
in a
many
way,
men
it
who are,
is.
and
In
I
a
think
way,
you're
it
right.
really is.
It is. I know so many men who are suffering deeply. I do. And, there's who have never felt the freedom to share their emotions.
They
And
don't even know how to process their own emotions.
they don't. And you get a bunch of men together, and it's like somebody's going through something. Everybody knows. How do you deal with it? You all kind of grunt and tell some sarcastic jokes, and and then you part ways, and it's like, that was great, but I'm still dying inside. You know what I mean? Because we don't know.
But I feel like a man.
Yeah, but I feel like a man, and it was maybe a little bit of a show of solidarity, but
Well,
I'm still
Yeah.
unhealed, and the cork is still in the bottle, and all that toxicity is still inside.
well, if I can say so,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like one man who left my presence this past weekend after an exchange that was poignant and powerful felt any less of a man.
No.
I don't. I feel like he felt empowered and he
Mhm.
felt liberated
Yep.
and he felt a sense of relief and being unburdened
Yep.
and
Mhm.
stronger than he ever has been.
And you know
that,
why?
you know,
Sorry,
and I don't have that as
Yeah.
a testimonial
Yeah.
from anybody. Nobody came up to me and said, I feel better, I feel stronger, I feel, cleansed, I feel whole, I feel pure.
Yeah.
Nobody said those words to me.
Right.
It was their body language.
Yeah.
It was interactions that I had with them later on after that had already happened.
Yeah.
And they were glowing and they were beaming and they were smiling and they were laughing and they were embracing other people. And there was an openness
Yep.
that had not been there before. Or if it was there, it was only open a crack.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it burst wide open.
Yep.
And I mean, Deb, if we can duplicate that, I mean, that would be a magical elixir,
would.
an
It would.
antitoxin for what
Mhm.
ails all of us, but particularly these very sensitive men who
Mhm.
don't want to be sensitive. You
Yeah.
can't hide that. And a lot of them who have gifts, they have, psychic gifts, they have ability,
yeah.
they have intuitive gifts
Yeah.
that they're coming in touch with, very much like what Jeff does. He'll pick up on
Mhm.
something while he's doing a meditation of someone who he's connecting with, who he knows is listening to
Mhm.
what he's saying at that moment, and then just share that. When you have these men are starting to discover that it's not just the women who are a little witchy. Them too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while you were taking your medication, Jeff and I were talking, and I was saying, and we kind of agreed on this, that the start of this, and it's funny you say 2016, because I still call that the year of that's when we really began the awakening.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of this it's been building up, and women needed to learn first that it's time for us to embrace them. It's time for us to say, it's okay. You are loved.
Yep.
And you are here to be loved. That's an emotion that all humans not only deserve, but it is why we're here in these
Yes.
physical bodies, to experience love, to give
Yes.
it, to receive, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But women had to come to that point as well, and meeting and being ready to do what you did Friday and Saturday night, Andrea. What you did was exactly what you were supposed to do. You embraced them. You gave them the permission to feel.
Yeah, there is a
To
built-in
release.
permission structure. There
Mhm.
absolutely is a built-in permission structure, and it involves two very, very simple things: space and grace.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Andrea, can I ask you, because what is it do you not, when you do what you do, I'm trying to remember exactly how you word it, but you're like, give me your pain, and you tell them, I'll carry it, but I won't I won't let it weigh me down or something along those lines. Isn't there something along those lines that you communicate?
Yes, I basically tell them to give me whatever it is that is
Yeah.
burdening them, and that it will come through them, through me, and out of me.
And
That
I think,
it will not
yeah.
stay with me. It will not become a burden to me, in other words.
And that's part of the permission for I think masculine energy in particular, is that I think one of men's biggest fears is being a burden.
Yep.
And I know that's one of mine. I know that's a shadow that looms largely behind me most days, that I try to, that I have to deal with, is that I don't want to be a burden on someone, whether it's emotionally, financially, whatever. I don't want to be a burden. And so it's like, if I had a rough day and I feel like sharing that is going to, and you had a rough day and I feel like me sharing my rough day is going to make your day worse, well, I'm not going to share it. But you tell me yours, but I'm not going to share mine, because I don't want to be a burden. And so that's so powerful, to not only ask them to give you what they're carrying, but then to assure them that it's not going to burden you down. It's not going to weigh you down, that you aren't going to be left carrying what they burdened you with, that it just, that's powerful. And that is, I think that's so key to what you do, and to even people being able to connect in that way. So was just, as you were, I had remembered hearing you say it, and as you were talking, I was like, oh, that's so powerful. That's so key to that.
Right.
Well, I very often, if I feel tension, if I can feel stress, I always put my hands on their shoulders, on their big burly shoulders, and I can feel, just, tactily, I can feel stress and tension and, whatever is weighing them, and I clear a lot of that energy off. I just clear it off just very naturally. It's easy. Actually, it's more, especially when they come to me vulnerable, they've already let it come to the surface. So it's very, very easy for me to just sweep it away.
Yeah.
But what I tell them when I feel a man particularly who has a lot of stress, I just tell them, I feel like, you're carrying a lot of baggage, and I want you to just lay it down on the side of the road, and and I'll pick through it, and if there's any Louis Vuitton, I'll just take it home for myself. And they laugh, and when they laugh, they relax, and when they relax, then I can go to work.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, my dear sisters, it is about 10:30, and I have to go, and I'm so sorry. I want to stay and chat with you guys, but I've got to hit it. But thank you so much, Deb. It was so great getting to see you as well. And
Thank you.
So I hate to run, everybody, but we'll be back next week for another 2 hours, right?
That's okay. We will. Well, not next week, because next Friday is my birthday.
Oh,
and
yes,
so right around this time, I'm probably going to have a house full of nieces, nephews, great nieces and nephews, and cake and ice cream next Friday night. So
that's your prophetic birthday, 10/10, right?
10/10.
John,
and born at 10:10 a.m. Eastern time.
And I always send it to you, John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy, but I come that you might have life and have it to the full.
So, and have it to the fullest. And I take that to heart. And I love you with all my heart. And don't you worry, Deb and I have got this right to the end.
Okay.
You go, and you're down to one car. Please give my love to your wonderful wife and your beautiful, brilliant children.
I will.
And I'll call you next week.
All right. I love you guys.
Me as well.
Have a good night.
Love you, Jeff.
Right.
Love you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
He's so wonderful. I mean,
isn't he?
He melts hearts. From the very first time you meet this wonderful human being, you just know there's something so special about him.
Well, it's his vibe more than any. Well, it's his intellect. I will have to say that Jeff has a stellar intellect, and he has the ability. He has memorized more than anybody I've ever known in terms of whether it be particular sermons or whether it be particular psalms or passages from the Bible. All of his very favorites he has committed to memory, and he has since he was a child. So they're integrated into him, and he knows how to just pluck them literally out of the ether when the moment is exactly right, where it fits in perfectly, like John 10:10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brilliant. He is brilliant. Well, and I have to say, and this is just between you and I, Annie, don't tell anybody.
I won't. Nobody's paying attention.
No, he has this lovely starseed essence.
He does.
Talk about that. He does.
He does. Well, I've been convinced ever since I met Jeff that he's here to save the world.
Yeah.
But now I also feel like that about Pope Leo. I am so in love with Pope Leo. I do not self-identify as a Catholic. I got thrown out of the church when I was 15 years old for asking too many provocative questions. They never let me back.
Right.
And I love, not that I really tried. I mean, that's a little disingenuous to say it that way, because it's not like I asked to go back.
Right.
But no, I'm in love with Leo. I'm in love with Leo. He Francis passed the torch, and Francis made great reforms to a church that was really needing reforms. But Francis chose Leo, and he passed the torch. And Leo has Pope Francis's dog, Tiberius. And he is, in just the short time of his of being the pontiff, he has already made so many changes. And and the thing I love about him, he has no fear of anyone or anything. He is courageous. He is a brave man. He's not trying to suck up to anyone. He says what he thinks. He says he's passionate about what he thinks. He's an Augustinian, and having studied St. Augustine, for the years, I couldn't get a degree in philosophy without being able to, quote St. Augustine inside and out. I mean, it was that kind of one of those things that I have in common with Jeff is that I've read an inordinate amount of religious philosophy, because you cannot earn a degree in philosophy without almost equally earning a degree in religious studies. Right. They go hand in hand. So I'm in love with Pope Leo. I think that he is a remarkable man, and he's doing wonderful things. And I think that he is the antidote to so much of what ails us, because he gives us the message, the one clear, articulate message that came from Jesus Christ. And that is to love each other powerfully. And that's so much of what happened. I mean, Deb, think back on this weekend. And I know it's a blur. I know it's a blur. It is especially a blur for you and RJ. But think about from the moment that we arrived on Thursday night at 11:08 and got into our rooms, and our heads crashed down onto those fabulous beds with the awesome pillows. From that till when we parted ways on Sunday morning, it was a veritable love fest. Everybody, indeed. I mean, it was like The Price is Right in paranormal land. Right. I mean, we're like literally hopping around on our feet, screaming when we see each other, I mean, just like magnetized, drawn to each other, and just hanging on, and hugs and kisses and dancing together and swaying to the rustling wind through the leaves of the trees. It was the best. And I've been to almost all of them,
Well, you have been to all. The
Well, I
only
have
one you
been to
weren't
all.
at
Well, we didn't have
physically was last year, but you were
right.
there.
Yeah,
You
I was
videoed in.
certainly there in spirit, but there's something, and I was there on Zoom, and that worked out
Right.
so well. Andy did that for us, right?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he
And
did.
he loves you. Oh my gosh. He just loves you so much. But you know, he's my son-in-law, so my
Yeah,
family is your family and you're one of us, and
yeah,
that love is huge. But yes, it was. It was a very magical weekend. I am still, you know, a little tired and
yeah,
all of that from the weekend, but there was something very special this year with Raining Men. But I truly, truly believe that it was meant to be this way. Even when you say, you know, about the Pope and about all of these other men, that it's part of the ascension.
it is.
The genders are coming together.
Yes,
You know, 10 years ago, we were almost at war with one another, 20 years ago.
yeah,
But we're really, you know, it's been working toward a blending. And this blending is what is going to heal this planet
yeah,
and the people of this planet. You
yeah,
know, we're shifting society in so many ways. Even Pope Leo he speaks from the heart, highly, highly intelligent, but
yes.
everything's from here. He is heart and soul. 20 years ago, I don't think that could have happened to the degree that it's
Yeah.
happening
Well, 20
because
years
he's a
ago, the
man.
papacy was political.
Right.
The papacy is now again spiritual.
Yes. Yes.
And that in itself is a huge shift.
Hmm.
That in itself, you know, I'm sure that there was a whole body of the cardinals, the school of cardinals, that would have preferred somebody older, that would have preferred somebody more toward their belief system, or you know, I mean, because
Right.
Leo has already repeated the words that shocked the Catholic Church when St. Francis said, "Who am I to judge?" Those words shook that church to its foundation. And
Hmm.
Leo has already repeated them to honor his dear friend, Pope Francis. Who am I to judge?
Right.
This is a church that is in transition, but as the titular head of the church, Pope Leo has a dignity and a grace and a carriage and an intellect that is so superior that he is not only someone to pay close attention to, he's somebody worthy of emulating.
Hmm.
I'm just so
Amen.
taken with him. And, you know, I never even anticipated talking about this tonight, but you know what? We're talking about are exceptional and extraordinary men. And the men, you know, I've said many times with you on different shows and in person that over the last 10 or 20 years, there's been a lot of toxicity, and it filters down to the bottom of this cauldron, you know, of
Hmm.
called all people, you know, all of us. And it filters down to the bottom, and then it gets hit with a flamethrower, and it starts to bubble to the surface, and it starts to boil to the surface, and then it starts spilling over the surface. And then here you've got all this toxicity in your face, and it's boiling up, and you don't know how to quell it, and you need
Right.
some kind of an antidote. And I like to think of it like this. You know, when you're making a homemade, as the Italians say, gravy, a homemade tomato sauce, and you know it's filled with citric acid, you know that it is, and you know that there's something that's just this side of toxic about it because there is so much citric acid in that tomato, and you've got 4 or 5 different guys. You've got stewed tomatoes, you've got diced tomatoes, you've got crushed tomatoes, you've got sauce, you've got it all, and it's all in this melting pot, and it's all on the stove, and it's starting to boil up, and it's starting to boil up, and you've already added some sugar to sweeten it, but still it's boiling up, and it's boiling up, and you can see the pustules just rising to the surface, and they're just loaded with tomato acid. And then you reach into the cupboard and you take 1 teaspoon, 1 single teaspoon of what? Baking soda, and throw it into that pot and watch it go boom.
Yeah.
And all that acid just dissolves. All that toxicity is just gone. And there's nothing that you're going to ingest from, oh, I know what we're having for dinner tomorrow night, honey. We're having spaghetti and meatballs. I'm telling you right now, I cannot sit here and talk about this without already planning what dinner is going to be tomorrow night. And there's just that one little dash of baking soda, and there's a chemical reaction that occurs, and all the acidity is just gone out of that sauce, and you can eat it without getting the little red dots on your face and breaking out if you're allergic to, which I am. So I don't care. I eat it anyway. I don't care. They go away. But that's what I think Pope Leo is, that dash. He's just, but he's a big dash of what we all need right now. And he is the antidote. He is the antitoxin. He is the peace and the love and the joy. And he has such reverence and respect for his fellow human beings, and such love in his heart for all creatures, great and small. And he is just an absolutely amazing man. And I mean, Deb, come on, you've known me for, I don't know, fucking forever. Have you ever
lifetimes now
sit around and listen to lectures and talks from the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church?
No.
I've got him saved
Not until now.
on my phone. Whenever he puts anything out, I know about it first.
Wow.
I don't know what's happening to me.
Don't you think that he is part of this whole conditioning, the whole giving of permission for men to open up? How many men, we had so many wonderful, wonderful men at Michigan UFO Contact. How many of them have talked recently of all of the changes that they've been going through?
Yes.
And how finally, for the first time in their lives, they are going to do something that they want to do. Even if people look at them as though they're weird, they are going to do.
They suddenly don't care anymore.
Right. And I think that's, from the Pope on down, it's such a beautiful thing. It really is.
It really is liberating, Deb. It really is. And we've latched on to something here, and we need to focus on this. And, here's the thing that I found most interesting. A lot of them wanted to talk to me about experiences that they've had, things that they've seen. Thank you, Bill. We have 5 minutes according to his atomic clock, that thing. It's so inaccurate. And they wanted to talk about things that that they've seen in the sky that can't plausibly be anything else except our galactic family, and stuff like that. They also wanted to talk about a broken relationship. They wanted to talk about a pending divorce. They wanted to talk about falling in love again and being afraid to do that because everything they've been through has hurt so much. They wanted to talk about themselves and their lives and their experiences in ways that were so personal and so forthcoming that I felt at moments like I was their psychologist Like I was their sounding board. I was,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have training, quite a bit of training in mental health and, working with, disturbed children and stuff like that. But I am telling you, Deb, that a lot of these men dissolved into little boys for a few minutes, hurt, wounded little boys for a few minutes. And I held them and I mothered them and I nurtured them and I breathed new life into them and I released them back out into the world after a few minutes as full grown, absolutely whole, complete, lovely men.
I have to add to this, and I know how deep you just got, and I get it. But if there's two people that I can talk to on a private level and spill my guts, it's to both of you because of the people you are and the aura you have and the positiveness and the honesty and the trust. And that's why they come to you. It's like, it's that sense of aura, and they know they can talk to you from their heart.
Yeah, they can gravitate to us because we have this magnetic pull. People know Deb. They know she is trustworthy. They know anything they tell her is never going any farther. And they know the exact same thing about me. And they know that there is an intimacy with us that is comfortable and where they don't have to feel any shame or any, there's no hit to their ego. They can just speak their truth openly and completely honestly. And it is a release and a relief and a healing unlike anything I have ever experienced. And it's like my new thing, my new favorite thing to do is to grab a hold of this big burly man and just say, get over here and tell me everything that's wrong. Tell me right now, everything that hurts. Come on, we're going to heal it right now. We're going to make it all better. Let's go chop, chop.
We all have things that we have to deal with, and it's a lot of stress. We bottle it up, which is not healthy.
Right.
And to find that vessel to release it, because a lot of us just can't do it on our own.
Right.
We need a little help. We need a little assistance.
We need love and permission.
Unconditional love.
Without judgment.
Without judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah, no judgment, none. Unconditional. There is nothing that you can say or do that is going to make me not love you.
Right.
Period.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it goes back to the whole mother thing. They come from our womb. We tell them when they can eat, when they can't eat. And throughout life, all of society molds them. And then it gets to the point, because they have been taught all of their lives to be strong and tough and don't cry and all of those horrible things. They really need that mom to give them permission to be themselves, to feel love, to feel pain, to release. Let me take it for you, as you tell them.
Yes. If we get to have the privilege, you're an actual mother. I am not. But if I get to have the privilege, I in a lot of ways, I feel very much like I am. I've raised hundreds of boys, helped raise hundreds and hundreds of boys. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what they pick up on when they want to, is that I get them. I understand them. I cherish them. I revere them. I honor them. I love them. And they feel that from me before they ever even hear that. They feel it. And the same is true of you, Deb. The same is true of you. And if it is my role and my honor to represent a mother figure to people, and as I pass through this world, then I am a very lucky woman, very lucky. And I didn't have to birth one of them to love them as though I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Very natural for you.
Unfortunately, the atomic clock has just.
Oh, it's just, Bill, with that thing. All right, Christmas is coming. I'm going to get you the kind of clock that works for me, not you.
Well, love to all of you, and yes,
Love you.
You are a mom figure to a lot of us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That makes me feel wonderful.
Just think
It
of the
does.
people you inspired here, and some even grandma,
Yeah.
like Casey's son, Casey Baldwin's son.
Yeah. I know. He's, oh my God, Brady. Oh my God. I'm so in love with that kid. Well, he's a young man now, but he's always going to be a kid to me. I'm his godmother.
See?
He made me his godmother. He
There
told
you
his
go. That's a
parents,
perfect
make
example.
her my godmother. So I did.
You
So I
are
said yes.
mother. Yes.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we wish everybody a wonderful good night. Think about what we said tonight. Men, feel free to emote. Call me. We'll help. Deb, call me. We'll help you through whatever. And so on behalf of Jeff Turner, Deb DeRusse, Bill Forte, I am Andrea Perrin. We are your teachers and your fellow students in Soul School. And tonight, I tell you again, be that beacon of hope for someone on the horizon. Don't be an oak. It snaps in the storm. Be a willow. It bends with the breeze. Be the light that you seek and be the change you wish to see in the world. And with that said, all important messages, I declare class dismissed. Good night.